Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we unpack a major diplomatic storm brewing between South Africa and the United States, sparked by the appointment of former Deputy Finance Minister Mcebisi Jonas as South Africa's new special envoy to Washington. Announced on the 14th of April 2025 by President Cyril Ramaphosa, this move has drawn sharp criticism from organizations like AfriForum and Solidarity, raising questions about diplomacy, political ideology, and South Africa's international image. Let's dive into the details. President Ramaphosa's decision to appoint Jonas comes at a critical moment in global politics. As geopolitical alliances shift and tensions rise between the global north and the global south, the presidency believes Jonas is the right man to rebuild and stabilize strategic ties with the US. But not everyone agrees. AfriForum, a controversial civil rights group often accused of promoting minority interests at the expense of national unity, immediately slammed the decision. CEO Kelly Creel pointed to a 2020 speech where Jonas referred to former US President Donald Trump as a racist, homophobic narcissist. According to Creel, those remarks alone disqualify Jonas from serving in a diplomatic role and could trigger another breakdown in relations, especially if Trump returns to the White House after the upcoming US elections. Solidarity, a trade union closely aligned with AfriForum ideologically, echoed this sentiment. Jocko Kleinhans, head of public liaison at Solidarity, was even more direct, accusing the ANC of either failing to properly vet Jonas or deliberately trying to provoke the US. This looks like a middle finger to Trump, he claimed. Kleinhans warned that such political games could backfire and worsen what he describes as already fragile diplomatic ties between Pretoria and Washington. But here's where things get even more complicated. On social media, thousands of South Africans pushed back. X, formerly known as Twitter, was flooded with users defending Jonas and calling out AfriForum and Solidarity. One user summed up the mood bluntly: AfriForum think they still own SA. The backlash was fierce, accusing these groups of undermining the country's sovereignty and pushing a narrow, racially loaded agenda in the global arena. Let's not forget, this isn't an isolated incident. In March, President Ramaphosa directly accused AfriForum and Solidarity of spreading racist misinformation abroad, especially in the US. He was responding to international lobbying campaigns where these groups criticized South Africa's land reform policies, affirmative action, and public education system. These campaigns, carried out during official visits to Washington, were slammed by the EFF and MK party as treasonous. According to them, these efforts are aimed at painting a negative picture of South Africa to international investors and foreign governments, especially when the country is already under pressure. So, the appointment of Jonas is not just about diplomacy, it's about ideological warfare. Mcebisi Jonas is not just a former finance deputy. He's also known for standing up to corruption. In 2016, he famously exposed an attempt by the Gupta family to bribe him with $600 million to take over as finance minister. His refusal to participate in state capture and his testimony before the Zondo Commission earned him public respect, despite his relative silence in recent years. His defenders see him as principled and capable, a man who can speak truth to power and restore credibility to South Africa's foreign policy. But critics argue that diplomacy requires tact and neutrality, not fiery past speeches. They claim his statements about Trump could harm engagement, especially with Republican lawmakers who are growing increasingly influential in US foreign policy circles. This leads us to a much broader question: what kind of relationship should South Africa have with the United States? Over the past few years, Pretoria has tried to walk a fine line. On one hand, it remains part of BRICS, aligned with Russia and China on many international issues. On the other hand, the US remains a major trade partner and investor. The AGOA agreement, which allows South African goods duty-free access to the American market, is up for review, and diplomatic tension could impact future negotiations. So this appointment could not have come at a more delicate time. Some analysts say the backlash from AfriForum and Solidarity is not really about diplomacy, it's about power and identity politics. They argue that these organizations are using foreign policy as a proxy battle to challenge ANC rule domestically and push a more conservative, minority-centric view of South Africa abroad. Others believe President Ramaphosa knew exactly what he was doing. By appointing someone like Jonas, respected, assertive, and uncompromising, he's sending a message to both local detractors and foreign powers. South Africa will choose its envoys based on national interests, not on whether they're liked by Donald Trump or his allies. But make no mistake, this battle is far from over. As the US election season heats up and global alignments continue to shift, every diplomatic decision South Africa makes will come under the microscope. The question now is, will Jonas rise to the occasion and rebuild bridges, or will his appointment become another lightning rod for political controversy? Let us know what you think in the comments. Should Jonas have been appointed despite his past statements? Is AfriForum overreacting, or do they have a point? And what does this say about South Africa's place in the world today? Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any updates on the latest in South African and global politics. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.